welcome to this ZipperAgent webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. It is really great to have you along. My name is Sophia Kroll, and at ZipperAgent, it's my job to give real estate agents the tools and information they need to grow their businesses. Before we get started, I want to mention that we've got something really exciting coming in at the middle of this conversation. It combines artificial intelligence and on-the-go selling, so please stick around. On to the topic of this webinar. Recently, we've been hearing the same questions from clients over and over. There are questions like, how do I effectively use technology to build my business? How do I turn customer relationship management software into a valuable business asset? How do I make my CRM into something that's more than just lists? And we're going to explore a facet of that second question here today, which is in particular, how do you turn contacts in your CRM into a consistent lead pipeline? And to help me answer that question, I've invited Ray Stockwell, who is one of ZipperAgent's real estate advisors, here to talk me through some of the details. He's got decades of experience in sales, in real estate, and in customer service. And he's also helped optimize ZipperAgent's design to save agents time. Hi, Ray. Can you tell me a little, sorry to cut you off there, can you tell me a little bit about your experience in real estate?
Sure can. Nice to figure out actually what it is you're doing here. That's fine. Hey, I've worked as an active real estate agent in Boston for a number of years. I am the director of product marketing here at ZipperAgent. ZipperAgent was actually conceptualized by myself and another agent in my office. He and I had come from private industry. We were very familiar with CRMs and integrated applications. And we really found that all the CRMs we were using in real estate were sorely lacking, mostly in terms of functionality.
What by lacking in functionality, right?
Well, many agents, they're just not taking advantage of the information given to them by their clients. Leads are posting pictures and information on social media all the time. That's information that you can use to start up conversations and learn more about what leads are looking for in a home. Many CRMs on the market just simply aren't set up to record this type of information, and most agent training programs don't teach agents how to think about leads in ways that are outside the box.
Sort of a subset of that problem is exactly what we're here to talk about today, why some agents struggle to turn contacts that they already have into a lead pipeline. So that would include contacts that they have saved in their CRM, contacts in their email accounts, contacts that they have over social media, really anywhere. So I'd like to start with what the big reasons are that some agents struggle to turn more of their contacts into leads. So why is this hard?
Well, it's really all about recording and using valuable information about contacts. Many agents don't have a place to record valuable information, which means they don't ask for it. They don't know how to start conversations with clients, and they don't know how to keep up those conversations over an extended period of time.
So let's say an agent meets a young couple who want to buy a house. Of course, the agent would record their contact information, their phone number, their email, etc. in a CRM. But what else should that agent look for?
Well, basically, valuable information is anything about the lead in their situation that'll help you start a conversation. Experienced agents break that down into three categories. Personal information, meaning age, hobbies, interests. This gives the agent materials for connecting with the lead. Then there's lifestyle. Are they married? Do they have kids? Do they want kids? Are they going to switch jobs? It's important to know this kind of information because lifestyle changes are one of the major factors as to why people move. Then there's needs and wants. The things that a lead wants in their home, that they need, that they want in their neighborhood, and that they need in their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Do agents struggle to record this information?
Many do. The problem really is twofold. First, an agent needs to have an end game to be a client's real estate agent for life. Without an end game, the agent will record information that seems like it'll help them close that deal immediately. They don't think about the information that they need for the next transaction or to cultivate transactions years down the road. Secondly, many databases simply don't have a convenient place to record that information.
Our agents should be recording diverse details about a lead's life and sort of life situation, but not just about the people who look like they're going to buy and sell really soon. They should also keep notes on people who might buy or sell months or even years from now.
Yeah, correct. I mean, think about a couple who's owned a 3 or 4 bedroom home for 35 years. You look through a various combination of factors like Facebook, public records, you know the client, you know their children have graduated from college and that they're now living independently. This could be an indication that their couple is ready to downsize and sell that house. The goal of every agent should be a client realtor for life. To do that effectively, one really needs to know customers at a deeper level and has to maintain a relationship with them over a period of years. Like with the couple I just mentioned, if you kept a relationship with them for a period of time, not only will you know that they might be thinking of selling, but they're much more likely to think of you. That kind of relationship benefits the client because you'll be better able to meet their needs and wants, and it benefits the real estate agent because they will always have a place to go for leads. CRMs like ZipperAgent give realtors a summary and a strategy information section, so you can easily look up the next action or follow-up plan as your contact sphere grows.
Do you know how an agent might record that information inside of their CRM?
To me, it's about zeroing in on situations that might make people want to move.
Okay.
You know, the big thing is making sure that the information is connected to your clients inside your CRM and is easy to find when you need it. Agents need to be sure they categorize contacts appropriately so that they can know how to reach out.
Okay. Can you give me a more detailed example of what it means to categorize contacts?
Well, sure. There's a lot of basic categories you can put people into. Buyer and seller are two. You can categorize them by demographics, such as baby boomer or millennial. You can categorize them in other ways too. For example, a condo owner who lives in a condo that they own would have different reasons for selling than someone who lives in a condo that they rent out as a landlord. One would probably be looking to move if they needed to or wanted to, and the other would be more likely to sell if it made sense to them financially.
So you'd be categorizing contacts based on things like where they currently live, what might prompt them to move or to sell, or information about demographics that describes their situation.
Yeah. You want to categorize people in a way that makes the most sense to you and your business plan. The use of tags in ZipperAgent, for example, makes this process very easy. Let's say I wanted to email only to millennials who were thinking of having buying a 2-family condo in Cambridge, Mass. for $800,000 to $1 million. With proper categorization and tagging, this could be easily accomplished just using the integrated email functions in ZipperAgent. It's also important to keep track of customers' interests. For example, if a customer has golf for a hobby, it makes sense to look at an area where there are golf courses. If they enjoy boating, presumably they'd want to go be somewhere near the water. Other agents don't always gather this type of information. Agents should have a robust database on where to record that information.
So I'd like to pause in our discussion real quick and take a look at an example of what recording that information might look like inside a CRM. And of course, we're going to use ZipperAgent. So here's a screenshot from inside of ZipperAgent. And you can see the gentleman's interests listed over on the left and then some houses that he's interested in listed over on the right. And Ray, I'm wondering if you could please make some connections for me between like what his interests are and why these houses might be good for him.
Sure. If you look underneath his hobbies on the left-hand, about halfway down the left-hand side of the page, you'll see that he likes to golf, likes hiking, sailing, antique collecting, community service. So when you look at the places where he is looking to buy a home, which is Andover, Massachusetts, it's a great fit for him. There are a lot of golf courses in Andover. It's one town removed from the ocean. There's a river, Merrimack River, one town away. There are also several streams and rivers that flow through his town that would be good for boating. He says he enjoys hiking. There's a lot of hiking trails around the area. There's even a state park right in his own town.
Very nice, very nice. But this leads me to the question of how agents go about collecting this information in the first place. Do they get it from social media or do they get it from other sources?
Conversations are one of the most important ways, but social media is also a great place to learn about clients. Take one of my former clients, for example. Nowhere in Facebook or in any other social media does he mention that he enjoys hiking. But 80% of the pictures of him in Facebook with his wife were of them hiking. So I can presume it was an activity he enjoyed and would like a home near places where he could hike. Social media is also where I first found out that his child had been born. I was able to determine from social media how long his wife was taking for maternity leave. Sent them a small present for their child, which in fact led them to call me. That gave me the opportunity to send them a report on how much their home had increased in value since they purchased it. It also allowed me to record the birth date of their son so that I have another point of contact to utilize in the future.
That's an impressive amount of information that you've gathered just from maintaining a connection with them on a social media site. In addition to interests, hobbies, and life changes like marriages or births, what other kind of information do you look for on social media about clients?
Well, different types of social media have a tendency to gather different types of information. For example, a client may introduce a promotion, an award, a new job on a platform like LinkedIn. On Instagram, they could post pictures of a trip to Paris. On Pinterest or Facebook, they might post an interesting recipe they had tried. Any of these would be good insights into their lives and personalities and could provide me with a great opportunity to reach out. Hey, I tried that pumpkin pie recipe you posted on Pinterest. It was delicious.
That's actually a really friendly comment.
That's the point. The technical term is relationship selling. The deeper the relationship you can develop with a client, the better you will understand the content and marketing that they'll respond to. Remember that the goal is to have your clients know, like, and trust you. Yeah, let me give you an easy example. I have a client couple that are vegetarians. If I send them a recipe for beef Wellington and say, I think you might be interested in this recipe, I've really blown it.
Oh, dear.
If, however, I send them a review to the newest vegetarian restaurant in town, it indicates that I know them and I'm paying attention to them.
That would be a lot better than sending them the beef Wellington recipe. That's for sure. Actually, and to that point, we made sure that ZipperAgent automatically connects to leads' social media profiles. So like you put in their email address and it will go and pull their social media profiles for you into the CRM, specifically so you don't have to go digging in. It's easier to find this kind of information. But I'm wondering, now that an agent has gathered information on a lead's likes and dislikes and family and choices and things, how do they turn that into a conversation?
Well, basically, when you follow up with a lead, be it after a month or 2 months or 6 months, 2 years, whatever, you ought to be able to recap the information from the previous conversations and determine where they are in the decision-making process and what the next step should be. You want to prove you're the kind of agent who remembers their needs and their specific situation. Prior to that conversation as an agent, you should have already determined that what you want to accomplish. Often your goal in a conversation may simply be to set up an appointment or get a listing, but it can also just be to keep in touch. The important thing is to know why you're calling before you call. If you're having trouble getting started, what I do is I run through the 5 W questions. Who are you going to call? What do you want to accomplish? Why are you calling them? When is the best time to reach out in order to accomplish your goal? And where this conversation will lead. You know, for example, after a child is born, how long do you wait to call them before they might consider upsizing? How long have they owned their home before they might consider selling? Do I contact them via Facebook? Do I text them? Do I call them on the phone? Do I call them during working hours or in the evening? Do I stop by on Saturday?
Those are all really good questions, and it sounds to me like a lot of them hinge on making sure you pick the right communication method. So do you call someone? Do you text them? Do you email them? And we're going to get to that topic a little later in the webinar. I have questions for you about it. But before we go there, when you and I have talked about prospecting leads in the past, you've used the phrase expanded networks. Can you tell me what that means?
It's the difference between offering your services to one person and offering your services to hundreds of people. Say you're working with someone who recently lost a parent and they're thinking about selling that parent's home. You can reach out to them as an individual, express your condolences, offer your services. Now, by doing that, you've reached out to one person. But if you can build a relationship with a lawyer specializing in probate or with a funeral director, you can offer your services to hundreds of leads through this one relationship.
So how would an agent go about building that relationship, say, with the probate lawyer?
Well, reciprocity is really important to me. For example, if you have a real estate agent that you respect, ask them about making an arrangement. You could recommend clients to that attorney, and they will recommend clients to you. Even better if you take them out for coffee when you discuss this, then they owe you one. It's a great example of why your CRM should really include contacts beyond the people who might buy or sell with you. CRM should include everyone connected to your business. That means professionals in related fields. If you want to get started building these relationships, find all the attorneys, carpenters, moving companies, electricians, roofers, landscapers, etc., and put them into your CMR. Ask them about this type of arrangement. Make sure you also include them when you send out your top of mind campaigns.
That's a really good point, including them in the top of mind campaigns. But we have also been talking about people who might be struggling to use their CRM. What if an agent is sitting there and going, I've never put these people into my CRM. How do I start?
Start by doing a Google search. If you got a phone book, if they still exist, look in the phone book. Look at current advertising that's going on in local newspapers. These are business people just like you. They want customers. Contacting them and offering a marketing partnership just makes sense.
We've talked about how an agent can expand their network by looking for professionals in related fields. How can an agent expand their lead network through clients?
Agents should think about other people who are connected to their clients. For example, if you just sold a condo, it isn't hard to get names of the other people who own condos in that building. And you can offer them information on the value of that condo or on the local market. It's important that you have that kind of information. You want to present yourself as someone who's offering them a service and not looking for business.
You've also mentioned in the past that agents should prospect both sides of a transaction.
Yeah, exactly. What happened to a colleague of mine, he was the listing agent on a condo. And after a while, he sold the condo to a couple. He put them onto his newspaper drip. He sent them a newsletter every month for years. He thought they were a dead lead. After all, they had not been his clients originally. The other agent never sent them anything. When they decided to sell, they called up the agent who had originally been the listing agent. The other agent simply wasn't even considered.
So your agent basically got this deal because he added someone to his newsletter email list.
That's right. No work for him, but it was enough contact that they remembered his name. It also helps when you know your colleagues. Does another agent specialize in a certain kind of property or only represent sellers? If so, there's a higher chance their former clients will have to find a new agent next time they want to sell or buy. Good follow-up means they'll think of you. Basically, every transaction should lead to a growing network. Did you work with a new agent, a new attorney, a new home inspector? Add them to your network.
But you still got to record all this information inside your CRM so you don't lose track of anything. And that sounds very complicated, so I want to look at another example. This is another screenshot from inside ZipperAgent. Ray, can you talk a little about how the relationships are represented and what you might do with that as an agent?
Sure. This client actually bought a home in an area that I do not specialize in. So say I get a new client who's also looking for a home in that same area. I could easily go to this record, get the name of the listing agent that listed the home my original client bought. I might call them to see if they have a pocket listing, or maybe they know of a coming to market soon listing. Yeah, if it would work for my new client, that'd be great. Just like with clients, you just have to stay in touch with these contacts on a regular basis, if nothing more than just to update their contact information in your CRM.
Now is the time to mention that cool, exciting feature that I mentioned at the top of the webinar. So ZipperAgent is actually developing a chatbot for our CRM. And that means that it's something like Siri on the iPhone, but for your CRM. So you'll be able to talk to your CRM, record information on the move, you can take notes, you can send emails, you can add contacts, all just by talking. There's also, and this is the part that I think is the coolest, a GPS-based property lookup. So you can ask the chatbot, you know, show me properties within 10 miles of where I am, and it will pull up properties from MLS for you. And we are looking for beta testers. So if you are interested in being one of the first real estate agents in your area to talk to your CRM, to use this chatbot, send us an email or stick around to the end of this webinar and we will give you a little more information. And back to you, Ray.
Well, we've heard that a lot of problems faced by many agents is simply finding the time to update their CRM. This artificial intelligence is a great way to solve that problem. Many over time.
Yeah. And actually, on that note, we've talked about why you should communicate with leads and what you can say when you do, but we haven't talked about how. And so this is where we get into that question of what kind of contact do you use with the lead? How do I decide? How do I decide that on the best kind of contact?
Right. Well, if you look at the chart that's on the screen right now, you'll see that there are several layers to communicating with people. People do business regularly with people they know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Social media and emails are great ways of communicating with people that don't know you very well. If someone on social media asks you for a market report, some agents will simply call that person right back. That's a mistake. Generally speaking, those people are trying to hide behind the internet. If they email you, you should respond in kind and email them back. When people begin to like you more and more, they'll share more methods of communication. For example, giving you a cell phone number instead of a work number. They may say, text me anytime. When you get to the point that they trust you, they're going to be willing to spend several hours on a weekend driving around with you and asking you for your feedback on properties.
Example of how a lead might move through that sphere of communication? So like if you met someone on social media and then how they might come down to having an in-person relationship with you?
Yeah, looking at the graphic again, if you notice, social media is the outermost ring of the circle of communication. So let's say that a person has indicated to me on Facebook that they are thinking of moving to Boston, Mass. You reach out to them and introduce yourself via Facebook. They respond via email, telling you some specifics about the size of the house they're looking for and why they're moving. Via email, you suggest some homes they might be interested in. They text you back saying, the one on Mass Ave looks great. You can text them back then saying, would you like to see it on Saturday at 11:01? They text back and say they will be coming up from New York on the train. You offer to pick them up at the station. They say they will call you 15 minutes before they arrive. You then ask for their cell phone number just so you won't accidentally screen the call. Then you meet them at the station and take them to see the house.
Though that are in your database who you haven't heard from in a while, so who might have seemed to have fallen out of this sphere of communication. As I recall, you have sort of a trick for getting them to come back and talk to you.
Well, it's not necessarily original to me, but it's what I call a hey you email. I've had a lot of luck with it, both in real estate and in other fields, for getting new leads out of old contacts. Every 6 months, you send out to contacts you haven't heard from an email that simply says, hi, are you still interested in buying a home in whatever area they indicated originally? This is another place where taking detailed notes of the customer pays off. You want to reflect specific information about their situation. You'd be surprised. You're going to get deals out of it. And don't dismiss emails that come back just simply saying no or maybe. Respond. There's a chance to market yourself anyway to these responses by sending out marketing reports, neighborhood reports. After the webinar, we'll send you out a copy of the Hey You templates that I use. And we'll send those to everyone.
Yeah, we will. It sounds like in those no and maybe, when you get those no and maybe responses, it's a chance to help build those client relationships. So it's a chance to market yourself as a agent for life.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of keeping in touch and making sure that they know that I'm keeping track of their needs, their wants, their desires.
Well, I've got one more question for you. We're nearing the end of mine. And I'm wondering how important it is for you to have a CRM that's connected to a mobile app.
It's very important. Let's say I'm stuck in traffic. I need to call a listing agent and tell them that I'll be 10, 15 minutes late for their open house. I'm in Boston, all right? In the middle of the city, there's a tunnel that runs under Boston Harbor. There's no place to pull over. Using a mobile app with a few quick gestures, I can find the listing, the agent's name, their phone number, and call them.
And that will actually be even easier to do when you have the chatbot, which I just want to mention one more time here as we're coming to the close of our webinar. In the scenario that you gave us where you're stuck in the tunnel under the harbor, you wouldn't even have to sit there poking around on your phone. You could ask the chatbot to search for the listing agent and then ask the chatbot to call it, and then you've made the whole call virtually hands-free. We're about to transition into questions from our lovely participants, but before we do, I do want to remind you that we are looking for beta testers for the chatbot. So if you are interested, please email us at info@zipperagent.com. We are hoping to fill out those beta testers by the end of the day today. So please let us know.
I've actually had a chance to demonstrate and use that chatbot, and I think it's great.
What do you think is great about it?
Just being able to talk to your phone and have it look up listings for you. Say I was at waiting for a client to show them a home, and I wanted to see if there were similar homes in the area that I might be able to show them. I could simply talk to my phone and it'll show them to me.
So before we sign off, I see that we've gotten a couple of questions from participants. So I wanted to put them to you, Ray. This is your moment to shine with off-the-cuff questions. This participant asks, how important are drip campaigns in cultivating these kinds of contacts? I assume they mean, relationship for life kinds of contacts. What about newsletters?
It is extremely important. Recently, I read an article that indicated that due to the high number of advertisements people now see on Facebook, that it takes up to 12 touches before a person recognizes you as a brand. That's a 50% increase over 2 years ago. Email marketing is just a great way to increase the number of times people interact with your brand.
Would you also say that is it a way to, no? As a way to, oh, you're right, I'm doing the thing. This is a learning moment at my expense. Ray has told me time and time again that when you're asking for information, you should ask leading questions that begin with W words, which I did not do. I asked a very close-ended question that was just a yes or no question. So let me rephrase. Why are drip campaigns, can they also be a way to increase client trust? And can they be a way to build client relationships? Not a W question, but it is kind of open-ended.
Absolutely. You can ask all the open-ended questions that you want to in an email. When you ask an open-ended question to a customer, they are automatically going to trust you more because they really believe that you are more concerned about what their needs and wants are.
Okay. I see you've got a couple other questions. So this participant asks, should an agent's social media focus be on increasing brand recognition or having conversations with other users?
So the business page and social media is to increase your brand awareness. However, by definition, it is social media. So conversations with users via social media are extremely important. A mix of good professional content with social content. Think about yourself. Are there any businesses whose Facebook pages you regularly check? Think about what they post and why you like it, and then replicate it.
That's really good advice. Just thinking about myself, there are some business Facebook pages that I've liked, and I don't like them just because I want an update on when their new brand of whatever is coming out. I also like them because I want updates. I want fun things or interesting things or news items. So that's really good advice. So those are all the questions that I've seen come through from participants. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank Ray for giving us his time and such lovely answers to my questions and to the viewers' questions. Please keep an eye on your email, because not only are we going to send you out those Hey You email templates from Ray, but we're also going to send you a copy of this recording so you can reference it whenever you like, and we'll give you details on our next upcoming webinar, when that will be and what it will be about. If you have any other questions, if you think of something that we didn't get to that you'd like to hear about, or if you have a question about this topic for Ray, or if you're interested in the chatbot, just email us at info@ZipperAgent.com and we will get back to you. Thank you so much again for joining us, and have a lovely day.